So, you're considering making a move to Baytown or a surrounding area. My name's Troy Tomlinson. I service Baytown, Texas. The surrounding cities of Mont Belvieu, Dayton, Crosby are my specific focus, but I can help you buy and have helped people buy all the way from down in Corpus over into Orange. Now, there's certainly some people that would be better off helping you on those faraway places, but if you just love me that much, I'm happy to make the drive. So, with that said, today we are going to review the selling process. Now, there's 50,000 real estate agents in the Houston market, and you get the question all the time, or you'll see the question all the time, which real estate agent should you pick? Why should you pick them? And really, it comes down to very few things, right? I've done roughly 150 deals and, dealt with some agents that I thought were absolutely phenomenal. And I've dealt with some agents who weren't so phenomenal. So breaking it down as far as what is going to happen when you agree to sell your home with me, right? What's the process? What's going down once we say, hey, let's sell our house with Troy Tomlinson. So let's dive into it right now. First off, first thing that's going to happen is you're going to see this video or a different video, or somebody's going to tell you that I exist, or any plethora of ways that you come into contact with my information, whether you see it on a billboard or a sign or a card that was left at a gas station counter. However, again, I try and put my information a little bit of everywhere. So however you came across my information, however you found me, one, thanks for being here. And two, what am I going to do for you, right? So I love real estate. Right? I've been doing it going on 8 years now. Like I said, roughly 150 deals. That's a healthy portion of buyers and sellers. I'm very well versed in the selling and buying process from kind of all walks of life, right? Whether it's first-time home buyers, first-time home sellers, whether it's the seasoned investor, whatever you got, I'd love to help you out. So first things first, you're going to find my information. Second thing, you're going to call me. Third thing, I'm going to get a few key pieces of information from you to get my report ready to meet with you. All right, so you're going to need to, of course, get me an address. I'm going to need to know kind of basic condition of your property so that I can compare it to the other homes. And then really that's it, right? I need your information. I need the house information. And then I pull from, the appraisal districts. I pull from various websites that have key information to have successful comparable market analysis. We call that a CMA. Now, I am not an appraiser. I'm not allowed to call it an appraisal. I'm not allowed to call it a value. But basically, we give you a guesstimation. And if you called all 50,000 real estate agents in the Houston area, you'd probably get 30,000 different numbers. So take everything with a grain of salt. Remember that I am a real estate advisor. I'm here to help you come to the conclusion of what you would like to do. I'm not necessarily saying, hey, I think it's worth $200,000. You got to sell it for $200,000. Because that's, just not how it works, right? Everything's negotiable in real estate, and I am here to guide you to the best option possible. And I do have a degree in accounting from Texas A&M, so I'm very numbers related. I'll go over the full process of, comping your home, and it's a lot of numbers, a lot of extrapolation, a lot of, guesstimation, guess and check, comparing, days on market, whole bunch of stuff, right? So what I'm going to do is a CMA, comparative market analysis, right? And I do one right up front when you get me your information, and then we reevaluate once I see the home in person and am able to make deductions or additions based on what I see. Normally, that first number that we talk about is going to be on the higher end, unless you just have some sort of crazy update. When I see it in person, I'm saying, oh, there's, it needs X, Y, and Z work, so you can do those things, or I'd recommend, going maybe a little lower on the price. So that's the CMA side, right? That's getting ready for the market. That's one. So we've figured out kind of what your home is worth, right? I've done that CMA. We've talked back and forth. You decide what you're going to do, what you're not going to do. And you tell me, hey, Troy, I want to sell my house for $18 million. I say, okay. And then we go to the next step, which is we're going to figure out where you're going next, right? One of the most important things about selling your house is making sure that you're not going to be homeless when you sell your house, right? So depending on the market, right? Depending on what time of year, depending on your specific area, depending on the area you're going, I might have different advice for you, right? So if in your neighborhood homes are selling in 2 days and we know that you're going to put that house on the market, it's going to be gone and you're going to be homeless if you don't find another house in 2 days. And in the area that you're going to, a similar thing is happening where people are fighting to get houses, right? You need to know what to expect when you sell your house, because when you close, you got to be gone, right? Or we need to know that you're not going to be gone way ahead of time. That way we can talk about lease backs and things like that. So we got to know where you're going. That's step 2, right? So find the value, make sure we know where you're going next. So step 3, well, or 4, however you're calling it. We're going to call it 3. So step 3 is we are going to get that list of repairs, right? Whatever I've said, hey, I think you need to do X, Y, Z. And you say, sure, I agree. I think I should also do X, Y, Z, so we can list at X amount. We're going to get those repairs done prior to going on the market, right? The last thing you want is to have a house that's in disrepair or needs things done. We list at tip-top price, and somebody comes to see the house and there's, work being done or damage or issues that should be corrected for that, maybe premium price that we're asking. So we want to do that first before we go to market. So step 3, get the house repaired. Step 4 is the listing agreement, right? Now, I don't generally require any sort of signatures, paperwork done anytime before then. You change your mind while you're doing the repairs. You don't want to sell. No harm, no foul. I don't hold you to it. I know that with my guidance, I've never had somebody get to that point and then decide not to use me. But I'm never going to hold your feet to the fire. I know you'll want to work with me or you won't want to work with me. So let's do that paperwork, right? We got the house ready. We got everything worked on. Paperwork. That's how it works. So we get the paperwork done so that we can get it on the market. And I will have a full other video on what all that paperwork is. Basically, you're signing a document that says, I've got 6 months to sell your house. It's going to be listed for X amount of dollars. And, that's really the base, right? Once we start getting offers in, we discuss kind of exactly what's in those offers. And I'll go through all that with you at that time and later in this video. But whenever we're getting the listing agreement signed, basically, we're going to review kind of my marketing plan. Here's what I'm going to be doing for your specific property. And, here's what I think is going to happen. I think it's probably going to take X amount of days, right? You'll know all that before you sign paperwork. And then once the paperwork is signed, that's when we get our photographer out, right? So my photographer, Terry Thorne, is going to come out, going to take great pictures of your home. He makes it look like, think about cheeseburgers from McDonald's, right? You see the picture in the ad and you get a cheeseburger that's like this and gooey cheese and yummy deliciousness. And then you get it from McDonald's and it's some cardboard with some flavored cardboard on the inside. Actually, I love McDonald's, but that's people's argument. But that's his job, right? He makes that house look delicious. That's the goal. Then we go live, right? That is where we take that house. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm going to take that house. I'm going to take those pictures. I'm going to work with, both my noodle and past marketing knowledge. Along with, I use artificial intelligence. I use a lot of tech to help make your house sell. It's, the way of the future. So I am doing the research in the background to make sure that what we're saying and when we're saying it and how we're saying it is as beneficial to getting your home sold as possible. So also, once it goes live, that's when that sign goes in the yard. And whether you want to put it in the yard, which a lot of people, you get that satisfaction of putting that sign in the yard, that's, personal preference. But if you want to put the sign in the yard, we'll put it in the yard. We're going to put a lockbox on the door. That way that when people want to see the house, their agent calls me, gets access to the lockbox, and they're able to show your home. So now, what am I doing in the background, right? Here's where that argument of why should I choose you? Why should Troy Tomlinson get to sell my house? And it's through my marketing, right? Here is, kind of just a general breakdown of what's happening, right? First and foremost, right? 50,000 agents. Every single one of us has access to the MLS, right? Which is har.com. You go there. That is where you will find the most up-to-date information on every single property, because that is where us agents are inputting that information, right? That's, it's HAR. It's used to be Houston something, and now it's homesandrentals.com. But, it's the Houston market. We also cover the San Antonio market, and there's a few others where, and HAR actually is a conglomerate also, right? So we pull in information from pretty much all of the other MLSs in the area. So every single agent, if you talk to anybody, they have access to that. Every single real estate agent, if they are a realtor, which, the 50,000 is the number of realtors. There are some people who choose to operate outside of that. I do not know any statistics on that, but as far as realtors go, 50,000 of us, all of them have access to that. Now, so how they utilize that system is really what makes the difference. That system is very, 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 right? There's 50,000 agents. We pay, I think, $450 a year to have access to that. So they have a lot of money, and they put that into creating resources that help us agents figure out who is looking at your property, right? So I can see anytime an agent sets up an email list for their clients, if your property matches their criteria, I can see that, right? So I'm calling those agents. I am promoting your property directly to the agents that have clients that want properties like your property. That is just one of the probably hundreds of tools that we have access to through HAR. Right? So I'm making those calls on the daily. Do you like this house? Have you shown your client, I think they have criteria that matches my property. So I'm making those calls on the daily. I'm doing social media outreach on the daily. We are planning open houses. That's a 50-50, right? So my take on open houses, depending on your house, is different, right? If you're in an area where there's not going to be a lot of traffic, open houses don't make too much sense, right? If you're at the front of a neighborhood, you're on a main street, that is the type of house that benefits the most from an open house because you have more people coming by. Now, my take on open houses is that a lot of times it's just an excuse for me to stand on the rooftops and scream about your house in a way other than just saying, hey, look, come buy this. It's like, hey, come see this and then buy this. So that's my take on open houses. I do them if you would like them to be done, but I don't think that they directly, generally, are going to be the product that gets your home sold, right? So I'm spending hours a day, making phone calls, creating social media content to push your property directly in front of the people who I know are interested in it. Whereas, an open house, somebody might want to show up and eat some cookies. So that, just my thought. I'm going to do the marketing plan, right? And every single property, again, is going to be a little bit different. Some houses need, maybe a little bit more attention in specific areas, depending on where they're located or what they're near. I might be walking your neighborhoods to try and promote the home directly to your neighbors. It really depends on the house. And we'll discuss all of that in a listing presentation whenever I meet with you, right? So every house is a little bit different. But we're going to go through whenever we meet in person to say, hey, I really like you. You really like me. Let's sell this house together. And then we sell it, right? And I'm going to give you that whole plan. One of the other things that I really think sets me apart from a lot of agents is that I answer my phone, right? My phone is attached to me, and provided I am not on vacation, which you will know well ahead of time, and there will be a system in place to get the questions that you have that pop up while I'm gone answered. But I have my phone attached to me. When you have questions, whenever you decide that you need to ask me something, you text me, you call me, you could email me, but texting and calling is probably the fastest way. And it doesn't matter if it's, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 a.m., 5 a.m. You send a message, I will get back to you normally pretty quick, right? I don't sleep a whole lot, as you can see in these eyes here. But I will answer whenever I have my phone on me, right? So if I'm awake, I'm always working. So I will work until I get your house sold. And then I will continue to answer your phone calls after your house is sold if you have any questions, right? Every single year, you're going to want to fight your taxes. I can run numbers for that. Every single year, your mortgage company is going to mess something up with your escrow account. And you can call me. I'd love to help you sort it out. So I try and make that connection with you because I don't want to just sell you this house and then never talk to you again, right? I want to be your real estate agent and your grandma's real estate agent and your mom's real estate agent and your 15th niece, cousins, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters agent, right? I want to prove to you that I am here to help, right? Not just because I want to do it and make a bunch of money, but because I truly care that you are getting, everything you need from me as your agent. Right? I don't do anything halfway. When you're ready to sell your house and you make that decision and we go through this whole process and you figure out, exactly what it is that I'm going to do for you, just know that it does not stop when you close, right? I'm going to be there. But anyway, don't get too sappy on me. We have our buyer. We've got everything done. We're under contract. We've negotiated. We got the pictures. We did all that fun stuff. Now we're under contract, right? Everything's been negotiated, right? Maybe we went back and forth a few times. And as in my previous videos, you'll know that I am a believer that when everybody is just a little bit unhappy, that is, when a good deal has occurred, or a fair deal. It's a good deal when you're only happy, which is what I strive for. But of course, if you're a little bit unhappy and they're a little bit unhappy, that is a good deal in real estate. So there's that. So they get the house inspected, right? They're going to get under contract. They're going to get the house inspected. They're going to take a look at everything that is wrong with the home that you have lived in. Remember, you've lived in it for however many years. You might not notice some of the things that an inspector is going to come in and point out. So when they do that and the buyer requests those items, right, that is where I'm able to say, hey, based on X, Y, and Z, they've requested X, Y, and Z. I recommend that we do X, Y, and Z, or CB&A, or whatever letters you want to call it. But I'm going to help you navigate their, post-inspection request. So they're going to ask for some things, and then I'm going to advise, here's how I think we should respond. And again, just an advisor. We do whatever you want. If you don't want to fix anything, we tell them, go take a hike. You can buy it how it is or no deal. But generally, if people are being realistic, there are some items where everyone's going to ask for it. So I'll advise you on what those items are and, probably recommend that you do those things. But, sometimes people just try and see what they can get out of you. So I will, based on past experiences, give advice to your specific situation when we get there. So that's it with that one. So got the house under contract. They got it inspected. Then they're going to have an appraiser come out. Right now, here's where if I did those numbers in the beginning and we decided to list at a higher number because you just think that it's worth that much more money, and maybe we even have a buyer show up and they say, hey, yeah, I think it's worth that much more money also. Now, when an appraiser comes in, they are doing a very similar process to when I did the CMA originally. So if they come in and say, hey, no, it's really only worth X amount of dollars, that is then where we run into the issue of, is that buyer willing to pay extra money to buy the house for the amount that they agreed? Or are we going to have to drop the price to what that appraisal says? Right? And if we don't agree with the appraisal, then we can always go back to the appraiser and say, hey, I think we should take another look at this. We can kind of send them a list of your upgrades try and see if we can work closer towards that contract price. That is an option. And I talked to them a little bit beforehand, but we're not really supposed to mess with it because it's, just all that separation of powers to avoid a 2008 situation again. So they get it appraised, right? We renegotiate again, right? So there's really 3 sets of negotiation. One, when they originally try and buy the house, after the inspections, and then after the appraisal. So we do that 3 times. Appraisal gets done, everything's good. Now is when we're going to work on the process of getting you to your next home. Now's when you can refer to the Go Buy a House video. It's the same process, same little walkthrough that I'll give you, but it's for the buying side. So now's when you can refer to the buying a house video, and it's basically very similar layout to this one. It's going to go over everything that's happening on the opposite side. So even if you're just selling a house, maybe you can watch that video to understand what's happening with the buyer while you're going through the process of selling your home. So after the appraisals have happened, right, that's kind of the last stretch. Now what's happening is more kind of on the buyer side. That's when they're getting their final conditions met for their underwriting on their loan. There's a plethora of items that it could be, right? It's finalizing income, it's finalizing tax deductions, it's finalizing credit card debt, finalizing their credit report, finalizing whatever, right? It is the final steps of getting everything ready to make sure that they are a ready, willing, and able buyer, right? And depending on when and if whatever happens and it falls apart, there's a bunch of different portions through the contract that are gonna say, when you get to keep their money versus when they get to get their money back if it doesn't happen. But let's focus on its closing. Now we need to make sure that we have done that buyer side also, right? Because hopefully you're going somewhere else, right? Whether it's with me or if it's with another agent in a different state or something else is happening and you're gonna live under, on an island somewhere. Whatever it is that you're doing, we need to make sure that when we close, you are also closing on that other thing that's happening, because otherwise you will be homeless. Now, people have the question all the time, can we do both? Yes, we can do both transactions in one day, right? I have it all the time. Wake up in the morning, 9 o'clock, you sell your house. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're closing on the new house. You drive the U-Haul from one title company to the next. The title company wires your money from one house or from, one title company to the other one, or we try and close at the same title company. Makes it a little easier. But it happens all the time, right? We make it all happen in one day. You stress out a whole bunch, and then bam, you're done, and you're from one house to the next. One day, 2 closings simultaneously, and it is always fun. Now, if you have the ability to have some leeway in the middle, I always recommend it, only because for your stress levels more than anything, right? So some people do it, right? They close at 9 a.m., close at 2 p.m., all done in one day, have their U-Haul ready to go, drive it from one place to the next, and that's it. And then sometimes we look for lease backs, or sometimes on the buyer end, we try and lease the house before we close. And again, depending on your specific situation, I will help advise you as to what I think is going to work best for your specific situation. I'm never going to leave you out to dry. You are going to know what's happening throughout the entire process, whether you're buying or selling, and whether that's happening today or in 10 years. I would love to help you make your move smooth. So if you liked this video, or you have any questions about what we reviewed through this video or any of the others, make sure to leave a comment down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up with my other videos as they come out. And again, if you have any questions, all my contact information, you can find it below and should be pinned in the first comment. So if you have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Even if you're not in my area, you just have questions about buying a house or being a real estate agent, I'd love to talk to you. So let's talk soon.